No more than a month ago, I made a video on how much I loved Destiny 2. The title was Destiny 2 is amazing, or something like that. And I gave the Bungie team props for their recent wonderful story. This story was it was amazing. It was so well done. The final shape is in my top 5, maybe even my top 3 favorite Destiny DLCs of all time. And I don't just mean Destiny 2, I mean Destiny 1 and Destiny 2. All of the expansions over the decade of gameplay that we've had with this wonderful game. However, like most scenarios that are similar to this one, where we have an amazing project that's been through its ups and downs respectively, of course, because of the big corporation that Bungie is, there's going to be some greed. A little bit ago, Bungie had a bit of a worker strike, and not the kind of strike that you're thinking of. Workers didn't boycott anything. They weren't acting against something. Instead, Bungie was acting against their own workers, where they laid off a massive part of the Bungie team. And this included people who made the soundtrack for Destiny, which is absolutely iconic. And just recently, and by recently, I mean within the past week, Bungie has laid off a whopping 17% of the Bungie team, which is approximately 220 employees. And alongside that, all of the rumors that I spoke about previously about a Destiny 3, which is codenamed Payback, were shut down. And on top of that, some of the other announcements that the team at Bungie made about the future of Destiny 2, as in they're reducing the size of content packages and all of these things, Destiny 2 is not looking very good right now. And like everything with this greed and these changes, it sparked some controversy that I'd like to speak about today. Bungie has reportedly canceled the rumored Destiny project codenamed Payback, which many believe to be the next installment in the Destiny franchise commonly referred to as Destiny 3. Earlier this year, speculation ran high as a leak suggested that Bungie was working on a new Destiny game under the codename Payback. Fans eagerly anticipated the potential continuation of the popular series, hoping for new adventures and expansions within the Destiny universe. So for those who don't know, Bungie is working on another game called Marathon, and Marathon is an extraction shooter, you know, like you walk in, get loot, walk out. We have enough of these, right? We had the Cycle, we have Tarkov, although the Cycle failed miserably because no one wants another extraction shooter. We have so many of these games, and again, no one wants these. What is Bungie trying to achieve with this? I honestly have no clue. It kind of reminds me of that one point in time where we're so kind of in that time period in gaming where a lot of game companies, like almost every single one, made some sort of battle royale after the release of Fortnite. They saw the massive success of Fortnite and they were like, whoa, we need to make a game that where people drop in from the sky and get loot and fight it out, and then a storm decreases on the map. No, we don't need this. And the funniest part about this is that extraction shooters are doing pretty bad right now. Tarkov, I made a video about this a few months ago. Tarkov is experiencing a lot of player lashing out because of the amount of greed in its like pay to win categories. It's rough. And also, extraction shooters, for me personally, just aren't fun. Just going in there and, you know, like you're all kitted out, you have to buy some of this stuff most of the time with real money, and you go in and you're like, all right, time to kill some people, and then you get one tapped by some PvP tryhard nerd who just has everything unlocked because, you know, their parents' credit card is limitless, essentially. It's not fun. However, this excitement was met with disappointment as recent developments have cast a shadow over the project's future. Earlier this week, Bungie made headlines with the announcement of a significant workforce reduction, laying off 17% of its staff, amounting to approximately 220 employees. This decision has left many fans and industry insiders concerned about the company's future and direction and the fate of its ongoing projects. Adding to the uncertainty, credible insider Jeff Grubb revealed in today's Game Mess Mornings that one of the projects affected by these layoffs was none other than Payback. According to Grubb, the game, which was internally referred to as the next Destiny instead of Destiny 3, has been shelved. Oh, gosh, dude, we can't catch a break. 17% of an entire workforce as big as Bungie, 220 employees, 220 individuals whose livelihood most likely depended on this job at Destiny, just gone. And more people on Twitter have been doing a lot of research saying that how somehow Lightfall, which was the expansion before the final shape, sold more copies of the final shape, where I completely disagree with this. I don't believe that at all. Lightfall was not very good, and the final shape, as I said, definitely, objectively, top 5 DLCs of all time in Destiny. I need to slow down a little bit. I'm getting a little bit angry here. Because not only is this a pretty scummy move from Bungie, it is also a extremely scummy move from Bungie CEO Pete Parsons, and we'll get into that in just a minute. Because like all of these corporations where you have a massive project and for some reason a ton of people laid off because of budget cuts, because of underperformance, there's always some underlying factor that does not make sense that is almost entirely the root cause of this. And let's get into that, because when I found this out, it made me pretty upset. And what Pete Parsons, the CEO of Bungie, what he did goes all the way back to the layoffs in October of 2023 from Bungie. Let's get into that right now. According to D2C Bro on Twitter, or X, Pete Parsons has spent $2.4 million on cars, trucks, and bikes on one single auction site since late 2022. Since the Bungie layoffs in October 2023, he spent around $500,000 on vehicles. Shame, shame, shame. And here you can see a beginning of a list of the vehicles that Pete Parsons has purchased. Now, I don't know about you, but over like close to $3 million, that is a pretty large sum amount of money. And after a little bit of digging, the average salary of a Bungie employee is 75 grand. So doing the math, this is a large sum of money that could have gone to employees and people who potentially contributed many hours of work to the final shape, which was, in my opinion, one of Bungie's biggest moments in their history. Solely because of how good this DLC was and how much they focused on the story and the release of exotic weapons and all these things. It really bumped Destiny 2 up to the highest charts, and it was incredible. And seeing this only a little bit ago, only a couple of days ago, that Pete Parsons, as a fellow car guy, was spending this much money on cars that could have gone to employees, potentially keeping their jobs and keeping their lives afloat, it made me pretty upset, as it would anyone. And this is where most of the controversy is sparking from, because there's, of course, two sides to the story. So many people are defending Pete, so many people are opposed to him, and in my opinion, he seems like one big hypocrite. Bungie has been my favorite game producer, my favorite game studio for years, ever since they worked on Halo, ever since they made Destiny, and Destiny still reigns supreme in my game list. It is still fighting for #1 right up against Titanfall 2. Seeing them kill their own game like this is absolutely awful. It's like if I had a child, right, and this child was my everything, and I just, for some reason, stopped paying for their school. I just, for some reason, stopped feeding them. I just got rid of all the support. That child would die. That child would fizzle out. And this is exactly what Bungie is doing. Pete Parsons, the CEO of Bungie, he is contributing to this. And it makes it sting that much more that I just made a video about how amazing this game was. And unfortunately, there are so many people online saying, oh, yep, look at that. The only thing that can kill Destiny is Destiny itself. And they are so right about that. Because not only did Bungie reveal how many people they're laying off, 220 people, how many individual lives they're ruining, they are also releasing information about the future of content dropping. They're saying, I'm not going to get too into that because I've been ranting on about this for quite a bit, but they've been saying how instead of releasing, their original plans were to release 2 massive DLCs per year, so like 2 raids, 2 paid things, which I don't quite mind, but 2 massive forms of content, 2 massive groups of content per year, so 1 every 6 months. That sounds great. That sounds awesome. I am all for that. But no, alongside the scrapping of Payback, they also scrapped this idea and instead replaced it with saying that they wanted to do more repeatable activities, like the more weekly rotation, just junk, slop, essentially. No, not essentially. That's exactly what it is. The mindless, repetitive stuff that you just go into, turn your brain off, listen to music, and just do it. You fight the same boss that's probably damage gated. You find the same type of guardians there. 3-person activities, grab an objective, put it into another objective, waste 10-15 minutes of your life getting some material that you're never going to use ever again. Alongside this, instead of doing the twice per year massive content drop, they are going to resume the usage of season-like episodes, which we've been seeing, but instead of the average season length, I don't really know how long that is, like 6 to 8 months, they're extending that. So they're making the weekly rotation, the repeatable activity, they're making it take up a long amount of time, which is just so bad. And it makes me wonder, who wants this? I haven't seen a single post on Twitter, on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, whatever. I haven't seen a single person who enjoys Destiny more than the average, like, gamer, you know, the average, oh, I'm going to go in Destiny and play for a little bit. I haven't seen someone who is a Destiny fan like myself actually want this. So it makes me wonder, who, why? Why do people want this? Why is Bungie looking at this and saying, oh yeah, we need to make this, we need to do this, we need to get rid of the average thing that the Destiny players want, which is massive season drops. We want to take that and we want to, poof, get rid of it. We want to take what literally every player has been asking for years, and we just want to not do it. Because for some reason, when we did do that with, you know, the final shape, everyone loved it. So we have to change it up a little bit. I think I have my answer, and it's because the company is greedy, like every single company nowadays. The company and the CEO are very greedy, and so they're not willing to spend the amount of time, money, and resources, just general HR, human resources. They're not willing to spend it on the massive 2 time per year content drops that they originally planned. And with that, they're also not willing to spend the time on payback, which is my biggest gripe, my biggest reason for this unbridled rage, this anger that I have in my heart. Because I was looking forward to this. I was looking forward to payback, some very interesting and unique third-person Destiny. You know, we don't get to see that too often. But this is just another story written off in the little notebook saying that, oh, well, a game killed by its parent company because of greed and because of the lack of effort, lack of creativity, lack of passion, lack of balls, essentially. And with that, I will keep you guys updated, so stay safe.